Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into Javanese spiritualism today.
Oh, that sounds fascinating.
It is. We're going to be looking at the SERAT WEDHATAMA, which
Okay.
is like this ancient spiritual guidebook.
Uh-huh.
And we found this awesome blog post that breaks it all down.
Cool.
We're really excited to get into it.
Me too. You know what's really interesting
What's that?
is that the SERAT WEDHATAMA, it wasn't written by like a monk or something.
Oh,
It was actually written by a Javanese king.
wow, really?
Yeah, Mangkunagoro IV.
A king writing a spiritual guidebook, huh?
I know, right? Apparently he was worried that the
Oh.
younger generation was kind of losing touch with traditional Javanese spirituality.
Interesting, so he wanted to preserve it.
Exactly. And you know what else?
Hmm.
The book, it's not about rituals or anything like that.
Oh, so what is it about?
It's more like a guide to like living a meaningful life
Okay.
from like birth to death.
I like that.
Yeah, there's this big emphasis on self-reliance.
So it's more about inner transformation and then outward practices.
Totally. And the SERAT WEDHATAMA, it lays out all these core concepts.
Oh, like what?
Well, one of the most important is age man.
Age man.
Have you ever felt like what you believe and how you live are kind of different?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Right? Like you want to be kind, but then you lose your patience.
Tell me about it.
Well, that's what age man is all about.
Okay.
It's about like closing that gap.
I see.
Living in a way where your actions match your beliefs.
So it's about walking the walk.
Yeah.
Not just talking the talk.
Exactly.
So how does that connect to the bigger picture of Javanese spiritualism?
So the ultimate goal is Menangaling Kawulu Gusti.
Menangaling Kawulu Gusti.
It's a mouthful, I know.
It is a bit, yeah.
But it basically means becoming one with the divine energy.
Wow, that's intense.
And to get there,
Yeah.
the SERAT WEDHATAMA, it highlights 3 key areas.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, so first you have honor,
Okay, honor.
like living with integrity, respecting yourself and others.
Makes sense.
Then there's well-being.
Okay.
And that doesn't necessarily mean like being rich,
I was going to say.
but it does mean avoiding poverty.
Okay, so like basic stability.
Right. And finally, there's knowledge.
Knowledge, got it.
Constantly learning, expanding your understanding.
So it's a balance of practical stability and curiosity.
Exactly. And those 3 things, they lead to ilmu sejati,
Which means,
the truth.
well, like true understanding.
Yeah, like seeing the world with clear eyes.
That's beautiful.
And so the question is, how do we actually get there?
Yeah, how do we cultivate those 3 pillars?
Well, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
The SERAT WEDHATAMA outlines 4 stages of meditation.
4 stages.
Each one builds on the last and takes you deeper and deeper.
Okay, I'm definitely hooked. Tell me more about these stages.
All right, so let's start with first stage,
Okay.
Sambharaga,
Samba Raga.
or raga meditation.
Okay.
It's like the foundation, the physical practice that sets the stage.
Okay. I like that the foundation.
And the source actually gives us some concrete examples.
Oh, perfect. I love concrete examples.
It talks about these qualities.
Mm.
Tegu sabar tekun, kiliti dan hati hati.
What do those mean?
They translate to persistence, patience, perseverance, diligence, and vigilance.
Wow. Those are some serious virtues.
Right. It's like they're describing the ideal athlete or something.
Totally. Dedicated and disciplined.
And you know what's interesting?
What?
They're actually described as the Watak Dasar Budi Pekerti Jawa.
Which means.
It means the honorable Javanese character.
So it's about embodying those virtues not just in meditation, but in life.
Exactly. It's about being that way all the time.
That's a high bar.
It is. But the goal is Membangan Keheningan Sipta,
This means.
establishing serenity,
I like that.
reaching a state of inner stillness, what they call laram in Javanese.
So it's about quieting the mind, finding that peaceful space.
Yes, and that stillness, it allows you to connect with energy sang panchipta,
Which is
the divine energy that flows through everything.
So even in this first stage, there's that connection to the divine.
Exactly, even if it's just a subtle feeling at this point.
Okay, so we're laying the groundwork with Sambharaga, finding that stillness.
Right, and once you've done that, you're ready for the second stage.
Okay, what's the second stage?
Sambachipta,
Sambachipta.
or Sipta meditation.
Okay.
And this is where we go a little bit deeper, a little more internal.
Okay, so we're moving beyond the physical. What's the focus here?
Think of it like this. You know how teenagers, they go through this phase
Uh-huh.
of questioning everything, pushing boundaries, figuring out who they are.
Yeah, for sure.
Sambachipta is kind of like that,
Yeah,
but on a spiritual level.
I see.
It's about understanding yourself, your desires, your motivations.
It's like holding up a mirror to your soul.
Exactly. And the SERAT WEDHATAMA uses these really cool examples
Oh, like what?
from Javanese history, like figures like Panembahan Senopati.
Who was that?
He was the founder of the Mataram Sultanate.
Okay.
And then there's Ratu Kadul.
Okay, I've heard of her. The mythical queen of the South Sea.
Exactly. And the point is that
What's the point?
even those who achieved, like, wealth, beauty, power, all that stuff.
The things people usually want.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily find inner peace.
Interesting.
In fact, sometimes those things can be obstacles.
Because we get attached.
Exactly. We get too caught up in them.
So it's a reminder that fulfillment comes from within.
Yes. And the source, it even says that just getting knowledge isn't enough.
Even spiritual knowledge.
Yeah, you have to internalize it. Let it transform you.
Like the difference between reading about cooking and actually cooking.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
It's about embodiment, not just understanding.
I love that.
And that's what Sambachipta is all about.
Okay, so we're deepening our understanding of ourselves.
Right. Learning to manage those desires, finding inner peace.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork with Sambaraga, and we're starting to understand ourselves better with Sambasipta.
Right.
What comes next?
Next is Sambajiwa,
Sambajiwa.
or Jiwa meditation.
Okay.
And this is where we really start to explore the heart of Javanese spiritualism.
Okay. I'm ready. What's waiting for us at this deeper level?
It's about getting to know your own spirit, your true essence.
Sounds deep.
It is, the SERAT WEDHATAMA calls it Menjenal Rudiri Sendiri.
Ruh.
It means spirit.
Okay.
And remember how in Sambachipta you learn to control your desires?
Uh-huh.
That mastery, it allows you to approach Sambajiwa with a calmer mind.
So the previous stages have cleared the path.
Exactly. You're ready for this deeper connection, this deeper understanding. It's not just theoretical.
Oh.
The source says that people practicing Sambajiwa,
Yeah.
they become more patient, less driven by those desires.
Interesting. So it affects how they interact with the world.
Yes. And maybe the most significant part of Sambajiwa is
What's that?
this is where you start to connect with Rosso.
Rosso. That word keeps popping up.
I know it's a big one.
Remind me what it means again.
It's tough to translate directly, but it's like
Like what?
feelings, senses, passion, spirituality, all rolled into one.
Wow.
And as you progress through Sambajiwa, you become more aware of it.
Aware of Rosso.
Yeah, and that awareness, it leads to a deeper connection to the divine.
So Rosso is the key to unlocking Manangaling Kawula Gusti.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That brings us to the final stage,
Which is?
Samba Rosso. Samba Rosso, or like Rosso meditation.
Okay, Samba Rosso.
It's like, imagine
Yeah.
you've climbed this mountain, right?
Yeah.
You're at the top,
Uh-huh.
and you can see for miles.
I can picture it.
That's Samba Rosso.
So it's like the peak.
It's the culmination of all the work from the previous stages.
Okay.
You're fully embracing Rosso.
And through that.
Yeah, through that, you experience this deep connection with the divine.
But you said Rosso is like this mix of feeling and senses and spirituality.
Right.
How do you actually cultivate that in Samba Rosso?
So the key is you have to learn the difference between Rosso
Yeah.
and Pengrosso.
Per grosso.
Yeah.
Another new word.
Remember, we were talking about those earthly desires, the attachments, the things that hold us back.
Like the noise that blocks us from our true selves.
That's Pengrosso.
Got it.
So during Samba Rosso,
Uh-huh.
you learn to quiet that noise,
Right.
to transcend those desires.
You get to the pure Rosso.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The source describes it as
Yeah.
like meditating with your true spirit unburdened.
Wow. So freeing.
It is. And in that state of pure connection,
Yeah.
that's when you achieve Manungaling Kawulo Gusti.
That oneness with the divine.
Exactly. And you know what's really interesting?
Mm.
It's in Samba Rosso that you really understand Sankan Perning Dumadi.
Wait, Sankan parenting Dumadi, what was that again?
That concept of the journey of life from birth to death.
Oh, right. The whole cycle.
Exactly.
But how does that connect to this final stage of meditation?
So through Rosso meditation,
Okay.
you start to see how everything's connected.
Okay.
You realize that death isn't an ending.
It's a transition.
Exactly. A return to the source.
I like that.
You can like embrace life without fear.
That's a powerful perspective shift.
And that's what makes the SERAT WEDHATAMA so unique.
What do you mean?
It's not just about like achieving enlightenment.
Right.
It's about understanding life itself.
Finding meaning in every stage.
Exactly. From birth to death and everything in between.
It's so practical.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's not about rituals or secrets.
It's about simple virtues.
Understanding yourself.
And connecting with Rosso.
Exactly. And anyone can do it.
Really?
Yeah, the source even says that people with psychic abilities,
Okay.
they still benefit from these stages.
Interesting.
It's about the journey, the process.
The unfolding.
Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful message.
It is. It's inspiring to think that we can all discover our potential.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, the source does say
What's that?
that it's not about instant enlightenment.
It takes time.
It does. You have to honor each stage.
Gradual progression.
Even people with like the sixth sense,
Yeah.
they're encouraged to start from the beginning.
So humility is important.
It is. It's a reminder that true growth takes time.
Dedication and patience.
And I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah, this has been such an amazing dive.
I know, right?
I'm so fascinated by this concept of Rosso.
Me too.
I wonder how cultivating it could impact our lives,
Yeah.
even beyond meditation.
Like how it could affect our decisions or relationships.
Exactly. I'm definitely going to explore that more.
It's a great question to ponder.
So for everyone listening,
Yeah.
if this sparked your curiosity,
Uh-huh.
go learn more about the SERAT WEDHATAMA.
And Javanese spiritualism.
There's a whole world of wisdom out there.
Who knows? You might even find some Rosso along the way.
That's a great note to end on. Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
Samba Rosso. It's like,
Yeah.
imagine you climb this huge mountain, right?
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And you're finally at the top.
Uh-huh.
You can see everything so clearly.
Yeah, like a panoramic view.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what Samba Rosso is like.
So it's like the peak of the journey.
It is. It's the culmination of everything you've done in the other stages.
Okay.
And you're fully embracing that concept of Rosso.
Right, and through that.
Through that, you experience this really profound connection to the divine.
I see. But like you said before, Rosso is this mix of feeling, senses, passion, even spirituality.
Uh-huh.
So how do you actually cultivate that during Samba Rosso? What does that look like?
Well, the key is you have to learn to distinguish between Rosso and Pangrosso.
Pangrosso. Okay, another new term for me.
Remember we were talking about those earthly desires?
Uh-huh, the attachments and the things we get caught up in.
Exactly. All those things that kind of hold us back from our true selves.
Right, like the noise that drowns out our intuition.
Yeah, that's Pangrosso.
Got it.
So during Samba Rosso,
Okay.
you learn to quiet that noise.
Okay, to filter out the distraction.
Right, and to transcend those desires.
So you can connect with that pure essence of Rosso.
Exactly. The source material describes it as meditating with your true spirit, like you're unburdened by all those earthly attachments.
That sounds incredibly liberating.
It is. And in that state of pure connection,
Uh-huh.
that's where you achieve Manungal and Kaulo Gusti.
That oneness with the divine.
Yes. And it's not about becoming something different.
It's about realizing that divine spark that's already within you.
Exactly.
Wow. So, Rosso, it's not just a feeling.
No.
It's like the bridge, the connection, the path that leads to that union.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. And it's in Samba Rosso that you also really start to understand that concept we talked about before.
Which one?
Sankan Parinomati.
Oh, right. The journey of life from
Yeah.
birth to death. Yeah, the full cycle.
Exactly.
But how does that connect to this final stage of meditation? I'm not quite seeing the link.
Okay. So through Rosso meditation,
Uh-huh.
you begin to see the interconnectedness of all things.
Okay.
You recognize that death, it's not an ending.
It's a transition.
Exactly. A return to the source.
So it's like a shifting perspective.
It is. You can embrace life fully without fearing what comes next.
That's powerful.
It is. And that's what I think makes the SERAT WEDHATAMA so special.
In what way?
It's not just about reaching enlightenment.
Right.
It's about understanding life itself.
Finding meaning in every stage.
From birth to death and everything in between.
Yeah, it's so practical.
I know, right? And it's not about secret rituals or anything like that.
It's about cultivating those simple virtues.
Understanding yourself.
And connecting with Rosso.
Exactly. And the best part is anyone can do it.
Really? Anyone can achieve this.
That's what the source seems to suggest.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It is. It emphasizes that even people with psychic abilities,
Okay.
they still benefit from these 4 stages.
So it's not like a shortcut?
No, it's
Ah.
about the journey itself, the process of growth.
The unfolding.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that true spiritual growth, it takes time.
Dedication, consistency.
And humility.
Yeah, approaching the practice with humility is so important.
It is. It's not about instant gratification.
It's about the commitment to the path.
I think that's a beautiful message to end on.
I agree. This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I'm really intrigued by this concept of Rosso.
It's a powerful concept.
I wonder how cultivating it could affect our lives.
Me too.
Even beyond formal meditation practice.
Yeah, how could it influence our decisions or our relationships or the way we see the world?
Exactly. That's something I'm going to keep thinking about.
It's a great question to explore.
So to everyone listening,
Yeah.
if you're curious about any of this, I encourage you to go learn more about the SERAT WEDHATAMA.
And Javanese spiritualism in general.
There's so much wisdom to discover.
And who knows, maybe you'll find some Rosso along the way.
I love that. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.